Hey, today we're going to be working on the Wagoneer again. We're going to be installing these rain shields, go on top of each door, and then we're going to be replacing the door seals, so it seals the door to the body. So one for each door, one of these for each door, but the front doors actually get a second one that goes on the front edge of the door, and then they're held in by these little plastic push-in clips. We'll show you how to do that. The tools that we're going to be using is a Phillips head screwdriver and then these automotive trim tools. So we just bought a set from Harbor Freight. These tools seem to work pretty well for getting all the old clips out. And then the last tool we're going to be using is an impact tool set. So found this really helpful. This is just something that you're able to, with their little adapter here, get it put together. Oops. So it's got an adapter that lets you use a Phillips head. And then for the screws you're not able to get out with just the manual screwdriver, you can use this and a hammer and it will get those stubborn screws out. So let's get to it. Alright, so we had to use a grinder. Screws were pretty rusted out. So we ground the heads off. Able to get the trim piece off now. And then just using some vice grips to get the rest of the screw out of the hole. And out. Alright, so we got all the trim pieces off. We got the old weather seal, or the door seal out. We took the trim pieces and just cleaned them up just with water and a scrubber. Vacuumed all the debris out of here. And then before you put the door seal on, you need to install this piece back in first, because the door seal will sit on top of this piece. Your inner piece you're going to put on after the door seal's on, because this is what holds the door seal down on the bottom edge. Okay, so all four are different, so you're just going to make sure you get the right one. We're doing the front passenger, so we're doing the right front door seal. And in case we haven't said it yet, all these parts came from BJ's Off-Road. We'll put a link in the description. You can go find them. So the door seal, it's got two corners, so that's going to be your top two corners here. And these are just held in. It just grabs the metal piece here and holds itself in. So I like to just start in one corner, just get it started, and then push it in from this direction. Just make sure you're seated all the way in that corner, and then just work your way over. Okay, so we'll stop about halfway back. You're gonna have extra here. We'll get to that part. Again, make sure you got it seated all the way in the corners. Okay, so as you can see, they're going to overlap, so we got to cut this. This does have metal inside here, so you got to get something that you can cut. So this is what I'm using. There are no names on it, so I can't tell you exactly what it is, but just something that can cut through metal. So you're just going to have to eyeball it. I like to go a little bit long because this will cinch up on itself and you can get it wedged in there, and then it's just got a tighter seal. So got it cut. Just bend this, get it up against there, and then just push it down in, and they just butt up to each other there. And then from here, you're gonna put this inner trim piece on. This is what holds the door seal down to the floor. All of our screws were rusted out, so we have to go to our hardware store and get some screws, so we'll do that. All right, so we ran to our hardware store to get new screws. We took the old screws with us. There's a short and a long screw. The long longer screws go on the inside trim piece, and the shorter screws go on the outer trim piece. Our hardware store, they had number 10 screws and number 8 screws, and just by comparing the originals with these, it looks like the originals are like a 9, so we ended up going with the number 10 screw. We got a 1/2 inch for the short ones for the outer, and we went with a 1 inch for the inside trim piece, and we'll see how they go. The rain shield, and for this we're going to use our automotive trim tools. This is held in with 4 plastic push pins. They just pop out. Excuse me, I think there's 5 on here. All right, 4 or 5. And you're gonna get new plastic push pins with the kit from BJ's. There we go. All right, so we've got 3 different lengths of in the kit here. There's a short, medium, long. Take the one you took off the vehicle and just match it up. And the front door is going to match up with the shortest one. They're not exact, but these are stretchy. Like, they'll stretch. And so that'll be your front door. The back door takes the middle length one, and the longest one will go on the front edge of the front door. So in your kit, you're going to get 2 of each of these. So using your old one as a reference, just lay them next to each other, put your plastic push pins in, pre-install them before you put it on the car, and they just push in real easy. Okay, so I got all the plastic pins installed on the rubber piece. There is a certain direction to put these in, so I just use the other door as a reference to see, because the edging has, one edge has a down piece of rubber on it, so you want to make sure you get that on the correct edge. So looking at the piece here, the part going down is on the outer edge of the rubber. So have the piece going down towards the outside of the vehicle. And start back here. And just push in. All right, so that one is on. Now we're going to move on to the front piece of rubber. And using our trim tool, so this piece goes from right here and then down the front edge all the way down to the bottom front edge.
So it's actually the door.
Yeah, it's on the door. So these are held on to the exact same pins. There you go. So this is the tool. Definitely need this tool. Okay, so on our new pieces here, this is the one that's going to go on the front edge of the door. There is a driver passenger side. I don't know if it really matters, but they're opposite of each other. So we're going to use the one that is like the one we took off, which is that one. And we're going to get our plastic push pins pre-installed. Okay, got all our plastic pieces installed, and then it's easiest just to drop this down from the top, and you're going to hold on to this top edge. We're eventually going to cut off. I like to start with the bottom one first because this is slightly, you're going to have to stretch this out to be able to reach all the holes. So drop it down, get your first one installed on the bottom. Now you're going to be able to use this top edge you're holding to actually stretch it as you're trying to get it in the holes. All right, so we just got this rain shield in place. So we've got this extra little strip here, and we're just going to cut it off. I'm sure there's an exact way to cut it, but we're just going to cut it straight down. Okay. Alright, so
Does the door close?
now we'll do our test close. Oh yeah, that's a lot tighter. There you go.
Let it sit in the sun.
Okay, front door is done. We'll move on to the back. Get our trim pieces off. And then once again, your replacement door seal. We got these from BJ's Off-Road. Each door has a specific seal you're going to use, so make sure you are installing the correct one. Okay, so just start in the corner. Make sure it's seated all the way in there, and then just work your way across. You're going to end up with a seam down here on the floor. Probably doesn't really matter where you put it, but I would try and put it back where you're not going to be stepping, so you're not stepping right on that seam. So I try and get the seam a little bit further back. It's just mine. Okay, so again, you're gonna have to have something that can cut through metal, and we'll just figure out where we want this to end up. I'd say right about here. And I'm going to make this a little bit long just so it pushes, the two ends push against each other. Alright, I might need to trim it again. Yeah, I made it too long. Or not. Nope, put it together. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna go wash our two trim pieces just with soap and water, and then we'll get those installed, and then we'll replace this upper rain shield. Alright, so we just washed our trim pieces, got them as clean as we could. This first trim piece actually needs to go on before the door seal. So peel that back, and we'll get this installed here. And then we're going to use our new screws. So I'm just going to pre-drill them here.
Well, they're self-toppers, so you're just...
Yeah, I guess not pre-drill. We're going to put the screws in to cut the hole out bigger since we're using a bigger screw. Alright, so we're going to use our trim removal tools. Let me get this the rain shield off here. And there's, I believe, 5 little clips up here. Yep, 5 little pins. And we'll come over here and we'll match it up. So there's, again, different length rain shields. And you just need to match it up with the correct one. Okay, there we go. So we've got long, medium, short. The medium one is going to be for the back doors. So match it up with the old one. And I like to pre-install these pins. Oops. So just do it the same as the old one. And then it is possible to install these backwards, so just confirm with one of your other doors which way it's supposed to face. So this part that drops down is towards the outside of the Jeep. So get it on here correct. And I just push in. So that's pretty much it. We'll just do the same thing on the other side. This project is really a simple project to do. Again, the hardest thing on this project is probably just the front door. This rain shield on the front of the door. And then the other tricky thing is getting the screws out. And the trick that we found for that is, well, for one, on this Jeep, the screws were completely rusted. The heads were rusted off, so we couldn't even use a screwdriver. We had to use a grinder. The other trick is if the screw heads are still there, getting this impact tool, it's just a hammer tool with a Phillips bit, so you can actually hit it and it helps break the screws loose. So that's about all for this project. Again, all the parts that we got came from BJ's Off-Road. We'll put a link to all those parts in the description. And that's it. Thanks for hanging out with us.